Hey, good morning, everybody. It's Gary here. It's a Thursday. I think it's Thursday the 6th, if I'm not mistaken. Not sure. I didn't really look at the date today. Today's episode is going to be called Seafood. Um, with my company, before I went into the meat department years ago, I was in the seafood shop. I started out as a bagger, and then after being a bagger for a year, they promoted me to the seafood shop because you made more money. And they call those side departments. So meat department, seafood department, deli, bakery, dairy. Those are all side departments. You make more money because there's a skill that is involved with that instead of just throwing cleaning bathrooms and bagging groceries and collecting carts off the lot. So fortunately for me, I grew up out in the Northeast, and so I was around. Did a lot of deep sea fishing, stream and river fishing, lake fishing, pond fishing, and I learned my way around a fish, how to fillet a fish, how to fillet it correctly, and even how to skin the fish. Which brings me to my episode today. When I came on with the company I was with for a while, and I was in the seafood shop. Most of the people, some every now and then you would get a customer say, "Can you take the skin off of that fish for me?" Mostly it was either trout or salmon. Salmon was a big one. Salmon was a big seller. And a lot of the guys didn't know how to do that. So they're whittling away, hacking away, eating, trying to get the skin off the best they can with the meat side down, the skin side up, and they're trying to, with a knife, carve it off there. Well, while they're carving the skin off, they're taking meat off too. And I learned at a young age how to take the skin off a fish successfully without taking any meat off. And what you do is you put it meat side up, and you put you get the knife underneath that meat just enough so you can expose the bottom piece of the skin and hold on to the skin, and then you just drag the skin out and don't even move the knife. Pull the skin out while the knife is stationary, and it rips it off clean. It's something to be seen. It's an art. But I was taught by my uncle, taught me how to do it. So that said, moving forward, like any other department, you've heard me talk about some of the assholes and asswipes you got. Customers that were nasty at the meat department, you had that equally, if not worse, in the seafood shop. Because there's more varieties in the seafood case than there are in the meat case. All these exotic types of fishes, shrimp, clams, lobster tails, like 12 different species of fish on any given day, scallops, everything. So you had to give out cooking instructions because these people didn't know how to open up a recipe book or open up their phone and look. Everything. We had, I would say, maybe 2 or 3 times a week, somebody would ask to have the skin on the salmon removed. And I was still showing guys and gals how to do it. So if I was present that day, I would do it. And so this one particular day, this lady said, "I want the skin off." Now, can you please remove the skin? I was waiting on her. She goes, "I want that skin off the salmon." I said, "Okay." So I took the skin off. I went, took it off, put the fillet of salmon on top of the scale, and then put the skin on top of the scale with the salmon. And the lady goes, wait, whoa. You're not going to weigh the skin, are you? I said, well, of course. Of course I am. Well, no, you took it off the fish. I don't want to pay for the skin. I'm not taking the skin home. I said, no, but you expect my company to pay for what you're not going to take home with you? Someone's got to pay for that skin. It certainly is not going to be my company. That came with the skin. You told me to take the skin off. I'm going to charge you for the skin. It might be only like 5 cents, but still you're paying for it. Oh, she had a meltdown. I'm not doing this. I'm not paying for that. I want to go talk to your manager. I said, go on, he's up front. Go talk to the manager. He's going to have my back. Come on. Oh, so she turned around, she went marching up front. Meantime, I took the fish and the skin off, put it in a wrapper, put it back in the case so it kept it cold while this bitch was up there trying to find the manager. Meantime, I'm helping other customers. She comes marching back, but not with a manager, but a co-manager. Co-manager says, hey, Gary, what's the problem? I said, oh, there's no problem. I said, see, she wanted me to take the skin off the salmon, and I did that. But then I weighed the salmon with the skin on the scale and was going to print the ticket up. So someone's got to pay for the skin. Why should it be us? And he looked at the lady. He goes, well, ma'am, he's got a point. We shouldn't have to pay for it. It came with the fish. And she goes, I can't believe this place. I'm going to take my business elsewhere. There, now you're left with skinless salmon. I said, oh, that'll sell really well in my case. Have a nice day. And she walked away. Fine. There's the fucking door. You're not breaking my heart. Those are the kind of things I want to say. Well, there's the fucking door. Bye. There it is. Oh, yeah, we had customers like that. Can you believe it? Can you imagine being married to something like that? Can you imagine being married to an albatross like that? Honey, did you put the toilet seat down after you took a piss? You didn't take the garbage out. You didn't cut the grass. Can you imagine being married to someone like that who's going to complain over 5 cents of fish? 5 cents of skin? Oh, my God. Anyway, that actually happened. And I would always, that was the one person that bitched about it. She bitched about it. But everyone else, they didn't have any complaints with it. Guys, sure, I'll pay for the skin. Fine. I'd throw it in the garbage can. On they went. My company wasn't the first to come up with this. There were several other competitors that was doing this already. My next subject, where they had these bags, these cellophane bags, and you would seal the top. You would put the fish in the cellophane bag with some seasoning and some stuff like parsley, lemon, rosemary, garlic, orange wedges, lime wedges, and seal the top of the bag. And all they had to do to get it home is throw it in the oven with the fish in the bag. It was called a ready for you bag or something like that. I forget the name of it. No, I didn't forget the name of it, but I'm not going to use the name of it. How's that? I want to stay incognito as much as possible. I don't want to talk too much about what I used to do, but I want to give examples of what I used to do. We would get these people, they would have the ready bags. They would say, put the fish in there. You put the fish in there. And they say, what do you want in it? And you chuck a couple butters, some garlic, couple garlics. And there was a tray in the seafood case of all this garnishes that went in the bag. And you chuck all the garnishes in there. Then you put it up on the scale. And you weigh it, put a ticket out, and hand it to people. Sometimes people would bitch. They say, well, can't you just weigh the fish first and then throw the garnish in? No. Someone's got to pay for the fucking garnish. Why should my company pay for the fucking garnish? We didn't get people. You would see every now and then someone say, why didn't you weigh the fish first? And then once you explain the garnishes, someone's got to pay for it. They got it. They got it. They understood it. They were reasonable. They were normal. They were educated. Every now and then, and this happened every now and then, it was always the same fucking people. It was a guy and his wife. I knew him a mile away. They were cheap skates. So they always got that bag, and they would put their salmon in it. And they say, yeah, 1 pat of butter, and a couple garlics, and a lemon wedge, and that's it. And you'd seal the bag. I'd seal the bag and give it to him. And the husband always said, hey, would you mind giving me get a little tray there, a little styrofoam tray, and throw like 3 extra butters in it, and some lemons, and some of that parsley, and some of that rosemary, and some garlic, and seal it, and just in case we need extra. And I said, no, I said, the first time he asked me, I said, I can't do that. I can't do that. Well, what do you mean you can't do that? It's in your case. I said, it goes in the bag. And when it goes in the bag, it goes in the scale and it gets weighed and it gets printed and you pay for that. I'm not going to, this is not the free store food bank. We're not just going to give it to you out of the kindness of my fucking heart. We had to physically cut that lemon. We had to physically get that. We had to take everything from the produce department and scan it out. So we would have to pay for it, a department to department payment. So we're actually paying for it. And you want me to give it to you for free? That's not happening, pal. That's what I said to him, pal. He gave me this fucking look. He goes, that's how you talk to customers? I said, you think I'm going to give you something for free? You're calling me an idiot. So yeah, that's how I'm going to talk to you. That's what I said to him. That's how I'm talking to you, pal. I said, I'll be happy to give it to you, but I'm going to put it on the scale and weigh it. Do you have any problem with me weighing what you're going to pay for? Well, I wasn't planning on paying for it. That's exactly. So basically, that's stealing. So I'll be happy to give it to you, but right after I give it to you, guess what I'm going to do? I'm going to call store security and have you cuffed and stuffed and arrested for stealing. That's what I said to him. He goes, you've given this a lot of thought. I said, no, actually I haven't. I don't find people like you every day. I said, but I've seen you do this before with other clerks and get away with it. I'm not letting you get away with it today. You got to pay for it. Someone's got to pay for it. Why should my company pay for it? That's stealing. Can you believe people? The nerve on people? The nerve. And this is probably not the first time he's done it. He's probably gone to all kinds of stores nationwide. Deli counters, bakery counters. Can you see that same guy at a bakery counter? Because they give samples. Every bakery I've ever gone to, and I've traveled a lot. I've gone around the country a lot. And I've seen the bakery counters put samples of cookies up on the counter or whatever, any kind of bakery product. Here, try this sample, a sample dish. That's the same guy that would go up and say, hey, can I try one of those chocolate chip cookies? I've never had that type. And of course, they're going to give him a cookie. He scarfs it down. He goes, oh, can I try one of those? Can I try one of those? Can I try one of those? Goes down the line. No, fuck you. You going to buy something or not? This is not the free store food bank. People, in general, in retail, and I've seen it when I was off the clock and I was shopping, or if I was out of town. I went to Florida a lot. There's a lot. They have their own grocery chains down there. I witnessed people doing that shit in grocery stores, wanting free shit and not paying for it. Can I get a sample of that? Can I get a sample of that? Can I try that? I've never had that kind of apple. Can you open up? Can you carve a piece of that apple off? And guess what? They do it. They do it. The produce department, they'll carve a piece of apple off and let you try it. They'll have to throw the rest of the apple out. But that's the service that we offer. And a lot of other companies offer. These people are called freeloaders. They're called grazers and savages. They want something for nothing. It's not that they can't afford it, but they want something for free. See? And it started with seafood shop. They would say shit like, oh, like after if they didn't want it in one of those ready for you bags, I would season some salmon. They say, before I weighed the salmon or the cod or the perch or the bass, before I put it up on the scale, I put it on the scale and I print the ticket. And they say, can you put some seasoning on that? I said, yeah, sure. So I ripped the ticket off, crumpled it up, throw it in the garbage can, take some seasoning, put seasoning on it. Can you go kind of heavy on the seasoning? Sure. Real heavy on the seasoning, put it back in the scale and reweigh it and print the ticket. 9 times out of 10, they say, why do you have to print the ticket again? You had the first one. I said, well, ma'am, someone's got to pay for that seasoning. Do you expect my company to pay for the seasoning? I wouldn't say that. I say, well, ma'am, you did get seasoning on it. I gotta charge you for the seasoning. I was nice about it. I'm being expressive today because I'm talking about this, but I was nice about it. I'd say, yeah, well, someone's got to pay for the seasoning, right? I was kind of like, right? Kind of kidding with them, right? Someone's got to pay for the seasoning, right? And they get it. They got it. But they want to challenge, you see. That's the bitch that wants to challenge her husband why he didn't put the toilet seat down after he took a leak. That's the bitch that wants to challenge her husband why he didn't take the garbage cans out before he went to work. See what I'm saying? Oh, Gary, you sound jaded. Oh, you fucking think so? You think so? Oh, yeah. But if you get in retail, full service in retail, whether it's in meat, whether it's in seafood, whether it's in the grocery department, whether it's in the bakery department, the dairy department, you give them an inch, they take a mile. We are not the free store food bank, people. We're in the business to making money. And that's what I did. I have more stories about ass wipes and nasty customers. I don't like to talk about it all the time. I talk about other stuff, as you all know. But I felt it necessary. I was thinking about it today when I was walking. It's like I said, I was talking about Buddy Roger earlier. And I said, I got to go for a walk, dude. I got to get off this phone with you. I got to go walk. Why? I got to get inspired. I go in a fasted state because I don't eat for like 18 hours. And so I'm walking on a fasted state and your mind's moving and I come up with content. See how that works? I come up with content. And so I got to go store. I got things I got to do. You'll have a fantastic Thursday. Take care of yourselves and each other. Thanks for stopping by. Peace out.